Yeah, it was really good, and Promise Neverland is now the third anime I think I've completed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm still working on Violet Evergarden, which, by the way, is great. You need to watch it. It's gorgeous.
I've heard about that from Mr. Fant, actually. He's
Mr. Fan?
Fant. Yeah, he does the 11th and 12th grade theater.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
well,
watched that. He watches a lot of anime.
it's really good. It's gorgeous. Just absolutely just breathtaking.
I actually know an artist who's worked quite a bit. She doesn't do animation, I don't think, but she's done books like the manga.
Comic or manga, yeah.
She's Nina Matsumoto is her name. She's won some awards too.
Hmm.
No, Mildred, unfortunately, I'm not any better. Which is part of the reason why I'm home today. I've got a really bad headache.
It's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, but just got a couple more days, and then I just got to Wednesday. My appointment's at 11 a.m. So then it doesn't take too long for that to start working. So, but it's just been hard to get a lot of stuff done, because it's like hard to do stuff when you got a headache, Yeah, you get super tired. So, so I've been sort of slow. That's what I would say. I've been slow.
Sluggish.
Yeah, I'm like a turtle. It takes me, I have to, take a bunch of breaks, especially if I'm doing stuff like around the house,
Actually, turtles are pretty fast.
Have you seen that little video of that turtle and he's getting water sprayed on him and he's like wiggling?
Yeah.
It's so cute. It looks like he's
enjoying himself.
Yeah, yeah. And then I saw that video of that farmer who put one of his chickens in a spider costume.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, it's very funny. It's a little chicken named Elvis, a solid black chicken that he put in a spider costume, and it's running around, and everything else is really afraid of it.
Poor chicken. He's like, my friends, I'm here.
No, apparently, like the farmer said that after he took it back off of him, the chicken was like pouting and trying to like get into it again.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it must have liked it. That's funny.
Yeah.
One of my
Did you know there was a chicken that once that like became famous because it didn't die after it got its head chopped off?
Oh gosh.
Like it lived for like 3 weeks.
That's
it joined a traveling circus.
Ooh. No, I didn't know that, but I know that they do continue to like run around and stuff. My one of my friends has a bunch of like chickens that she's rescued, like she's part of this like if they're like in bad situations and stuff, she like helps rescue them. And they're pretty funny little chickens. Like they have like they have like a whole personality.
Yeah.
I never really like thought that much about chickens before this because, well, some people a couple of houses down the road when I was growing up had chickens, but that was about it. All right, everybody who can, let's go ahead and turn on our cameras for me, please, so I can mark you down as present. We'll wait a little bit longer because I'm sure we're going to get some more people.
I had ducks.
You had ducks?
Yeah, their names were Chuck and Norris.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was my mom's idea.
One of my friends had a duck that was like injured, like they had this big pond in their backyard and it was injured. So they just like took care of it and it just stayed there, you know, like the other ducks would migrate and it would just like chill. So they made it like a heated house and stuff.
They're like, hey, I don't have to migrate because like over here it's nice all year round.
Yeah, he was like, you know, he had like an injured wing or something, so he couldn't fly. So he just hung out in Michigan, and they'd come back and see him in the summertime.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Duck that always lives in Michigan.
Yeah, right. They had to make it like a little, like a heated thing and feed it and stuff, but so it was kind of like half wild, half pet. All right. So, if you take a look at Schoology, I just want to remind you guys that your European playwright projects are due on the 10th. Okay, so if you have not decided who you're going to work on, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of time today so that everybody, oh, it's okay, Tyler, no problem. Everybody can tell me who they are going to do their project on. So the plan for this week is that today we're going to talk about Spanish theater. On Wednesday, you're going to have a sub because I won't be here because I have to do my treatment. So you're going to watch a documentary about the creation of Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights. And it's a like a 45-minute long documentary that they did, and it starts basically it follows it from like the very first rehearsal all the way through to when they go to like the awards, the Tony Awards. Okay. But it's only 45 minutes long. And then you have a 15-question quiz to take about the little documentary that you're going to watch. Now, I do have somebody who has signed up to be the substitute, so they should open the Zoom call, right? And they should like be able to play the documentary and everything. However, if something happens, there will be a folder. So like right now, if you look in 11:12 to 11:06, you'll see that there's nothing for 11:04. There's like a hidden folder that'll like appear in the morning. And that way, if something happens or the sub can't figure it out, because, you know, like this is new for them too, you'll still be able to watch it and do the assignment on the 4th. Okay. It's just hidden until that day. So yeah, so on Wednesday, you have like a 45-minute documentary and a 15-question quiz to do. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about Italian theater, so the Italian Renaissance, and you'll turn in your journal entries. So between now and Friday, please go through and make sure that you're caught up with your journal entries. You're ready to go and ready to turn those in because those will be due on Friday. So after today, I think actually, I don't even know if I have any for this week, to be honest with you. We won't be doing journal entries anymore. We're going to be doing exit tickets every class period in Schoology. That will be sort of either multiple choice questions or it'll ask you to sort of write about what we went over during the class period. So it's going to be important for you if you are not in class that day. So let's say you have a doctor's appointment, right? Well, you need to then that evening, the expectation is that you're going to watch the video or you're going to go through the PowerPoints because they're all listed and do the exit ticket before midnight. Okay. So that's the expectation, right? Do you have that in other classes or no? Zanette, you look confused. Oh, I lagged out? Okay. Let me type it. Okay, so what I'm saying is that if you don't make it to the class live, you have to go through the thing and do the exit ticket by midnight. On Wednesday, Carla, yes, you're going to watch a video and take the quiz on the video. That will be Wednesday's assignment. Okay. The subs should be here. There is a sub signed up to be here. However, if they can't figure out how to get into the Zoom, if they can't open it up, there will be an assignment in Schoology that you can do. Okay. So I'm just letting you know that the expectation is that you're going to get it done. Okay. Any other questions? No, we're good. Okay. Let us begin with, I don't have a Nearpod for today. I made this before I started using Nearpod. So we'll be doing stuff in the chat mostly. And let me make sure that I have sharing my computer sound. I'm going to skip the journal entry for today too. So you don't have to worry about that. So today we're going to talk about the Spanish Golden Age. So if you have, how many of you have ever heard of Don Juan or Don Quixote or sort of any of those? Zanette's raised her hand. Anybody else? I think it was Ahmed who just joined us. Yes. Nope. Okay. That's fine if you haven't. Mia has. Okay. So some of you have. All right. Those characters actually come from this period. This is when they originated. So like the Don Juan sort of legend didn't really exist before the Spanish Golden Age. So we're basically today, we're going to look at the people who in Spain originated a lot of these characters and also did sort of a lot. Oh, you can't hear me? Is it everyone or just Tyler? Okay, sorry. You know how technology do, right? We're all right. So yeah, they basically all originated from this time period. This is sort of like a hugely prolific time period, meaning that we're going to have tons and tons and tons of new plays and new books and everything written in Spain in this 100-year period. So we're going to skip the journal entry for today. But think about like, why are they using, we'll just talk about it now. Why were they using theater to teach religion in the medieval period? Like, what was the point of that? Yeah, Emma, go ahead.
It was to get more people interested in the church.
Yeah, and yeah, more entertaining, more interesting. Yeah, for sure, right? It was also to teach them in a way that's very easy to understand, right? They couldn't read, so you couldn't just give them, the Bible and be like, here you go, right? They couldn't read Latin, but they could do these plays. They'd be interesting. They're memorable, right? So they can repeat the stories. Yes, Alyssa, I did. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Thank you very much for letting me know. So yeah, they could repeat the stories to other people who haven't seen the plays yet. And it encourages belief, right? That's okay, Tyler. It's probably not in your control. So just do the best you can, my friend. So today we're going to look at 4 things. The first thing we're going to talk about a little bit is the Spanish Inquisition. So if you have those notes where we looked at the differences and the similarities between English and French theater, now you're going to be able to add sort of a new column onto it and put Spanish theater, right? And then we'll do the same thing on Friday with Italy. We're going to look at religious theater during this time, and it's different than the religious theater that we've looked at before. We're going to talk about all the 4 main styles of plays that were very popular during this period, and then we're going to talk about the Corral de Comidas, which is basically the buildings where these plays were primarily staged. So that's the plan for today. And you'll just sort of see how Spain had some things in common with what has been going on in England and France, and how they had some things that were totally unique to them. Oh, Henley just decided to join us. Say hello to everyone, Henley. There you go. Good job. Now get down. Okay. So the Spanish Inquisition. Victor, why don't you read this slide for us, please?
The Spanish Inquisition, prosecution and execution of Moor and Jewish population of Spain conducted by the Catholic Church. People were ordered to convert or leave.
Perfect. Yes. So this is, we've talked about in the Catholic Church of France that they had some control, right? They could express their displeasure at what was going on in the theater, but the king was still really the person in charge. Well, the Catholic Church in Spain is doing its own thing. It has its own court, and they're basically just attempting to wipe out anyone who isn't Catholic from the borders of Spain. Now, if you were lucky, that meant that you were banished, right? That you had to leave. And if you were unlucky, that meant that you would be prosecuted and killed by the Spanish Inquisition. So you have a lot of people here who are forced to convert, similar to the way that the people in England were forced to convert when Henry VIII created the Anglican Church. But if you remember, in England, we still had a lot of people who believed in Catholicism, right? And they were just sort of quietly doing Catholic services underground while pretending to be Anglican. Well, that's not really the case here. You either converted or you had to leave or you were killed. So it's a pretty stressful time, right? Especially if you weren't Catholic during this period. But you could be a Catholic and be accused by somebody of not being, and you would still have to go through some of these trials, right? So it wasn't like you could get away scot-free. If somebody nearby you didn't like you and they were really powerful, they could try to put suspicion on you anyway. So here's a couple of things, some things to sort of compare and contrast, right? So in Spain, we're dealing with the Catholic Church. In England, as a reminder, again, the Anglican Church. And in France, what church was it in France that we talked about? Check your notes. What was the question? What oh, what did I just do? What is this? Oh, audience tools. There we go. I'll put it in the. Wait, where did that go? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, let me go back. Apparently now you guys can send me questions on the slides. That's kind of cool. Come on, guys. Find your notes. We did that like sheet where we were comparing and contrasting what was going on. Yeah, Carla, I think everybody's okay. Zanette, there we go. Catholic, yes, perfect. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Zanette. Yes, the Catholic Church, right? But it's not the extremist kind of Catholic Church that we're seeing right now in France, right? It's not the same. It's the same church, it's under the same pope, but what they're doing in the country is a lot different, right? So in Spain, they're going to encourage religious theater, right? In England, there's a ban on religious figures on stage. What about in France? What was their attitude towards religion being used in the theater? They weren't happy about it, right? It mocked them. They didn't like it. If it was negative toward them, they didn't like it, right? And they could get it banned like they did with Tartuffe. They had Tartuffe banned twice before finally Moliere wrote a version of Tartuffe that they were okay with, right? But so they had a lot of influence over the king. It's really the king who banned it, but they're the ones who are really pressuring him to do so until they got their way. Okay. So in Spain, we have playwrights who are writing religious and secular plays at the same time. This is important because we don't really see that in England. We don't see that in France, with the exception maybe of Racine. And I'm going to write that here in case you're interested in doing your project on him. But in Spain, most of the playwrights who are active during this time are going to write religious plays and they're going to write secular plays. They're going to do both. So that's pretty unique, okay? So make a big star on that one in your notes. It's the first time we've seen that. Okay. Emma, why don't you read this slide for us?
Many early religious plays in Spain looked and sounded a lot like religious plays from the medieval period in England. Instead of being done by guilds, am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
However, they were by professional actors.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. So that's another difference. They look and sound pretty similar to those that we talked about in the medieval period, but they're done immediately by professional actors. We're not having just like, the blacksmith is playing, I don't know, St. Paul in the play, right? Okay. Okay, 4 types of plays during this period. Zanette, can you read these for us? Here's your 4 types of plays.
So the types of plays. One was the chivalric plays, featured knights and ladies in danger. The second was pastorals, the plays idealizing life as simple people, shepherds, farmers, etc. 3 was the autos sacramentals, religious plays about the Eucharist and the supernatural. The comedies of manners and situational comedies.
Sorry, there we go. Chivalric plays. Does that remind you of anything that you have heard about before? Maybe something you've read or seen, especially when you were a kid?
Yeah.
What does it remind you of?
I mean, I haven't watched it, but kind of like Monty Python.
Yeah, a little bit. Romeo and Juliet, Hercules, fairy tales, Disney princesses. Yeah, exactly. Right. This sort of like, damsel in distress sort of thing. This is really where that comes from, right? You have these like dashing knights and soldiers who are, gonna save the fair maiden, right? That's where this is from. Pastorals. So this is where they originate. They're still popular. They'll be popular for quite a long time. And a lot of them will get converted into operas. So there's a lot of pastoral operas. But it's like an idealized sort of look at, oh, it must be so wonderful to live a simple life as a farmer and milk your own cows and but none of it is about like the harsh realities of that kind of life, right? Like it doesn't talk about how like difficult it is to feed your family or how you never have any money or any of that. It's just about like the beauty of living in nature. There's a whole genre of paintings too. So if you look up pastoral art, it's very similar where it's like these, shepherdesses who are like laying down in a beautiful field of grass and they're surrounded by these perfect lambs and things. Then we have autos sacramentales. These are those religious plays that I was telling you about. Plays that were about the supernatural, plays that are about the Eucharist, plays that surround tales of Christ and the Catholic religions specifically. And then comedies. Because, we got to laugh. Comedies of manners. So comedies that were about sort of making fun of the upper class. And situational comedies, which are where the characters would be like in sort of a funny situation. And the whole play is about like, how are they going to get out of the trouble that they're in? And it ends happily. So I want to give you a minute to write those down. And are there any questions about any of those 4? Yes, Emma.
So with pastorals,
Mhm.
were they making those plays to get more people to do farm work?
No.
It was
No.
just to be like,
Yeah.
hey, it was nice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it was just like the upper class people imagining like, oh, it must be so gorgeous and simple and beautiful to live in nature and
The animals, the
Mhm.
shepherds. It smells. It's terrible.
Yeah, right.
It's not
Yeah.
terrible. I wouldn't say that.
Well, it was definitely at the time it was, right? Because you didn't have like help or medicine or right.
So that was for the rich people to be like, oh wow, the poor seem great.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of similar to, when you hear about even like today, people like idealizing people who have never had any experience living somewhere that's like that's where life is really difficult and they're like idealizing what it must be like. It still happens today, right? It just doesn't get its whole genre, and we often call it out when we see it now, or at least hopefully we do. The Y2K aesthetic. I like that. Sinette, I think you got an idea there, right? I think we are sort of seeing some of that. Where they're like, oh, millennials have it so easy, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, you have no idea, my friend. Here, let me show you a little bit of the art. I think that the art sort of helps. The operas do too, but I won't put you through that. So here's an example of one, right? Oh, how gorgeous it is. A shepherd and a shepherdess at rest, right? They're barefoot in the middle of this gorgeous place, So it becomes a very popular way of art too. There's usually, like a couple with some lambs somewhere beautiful,
Little did the rich know that those goats smelled terrible.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. All right, good. Okay. I think you guys get it. Okay, so the theaters themselves. Let's look at what it was like when you went to the theater, okay? Let's see. Hannah, can you read this for us?
Okay. Women and men separated. Opposite genders could only sit together in box seats and had to prove that they were members of the same family. Plays scheduled every day. No plays on Saturday, though. Audience were very loud, lively, often shouted, whistled, and sometimes threw fruits.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. So what you're going to see when you look at the theater is that it's very cleanly divided. There's like an aisle down the middle, much like there would be at a church. And if you weren't there with your family, you had to sit. There was like a side where the men could sit, and there was a side where the women could sit. As a family, you could sit together, men and women could sit together, but you literally had to prove that you were like part of the same family. You had plays every day. This is sort of the first time that we've seen that, right? Except for Saturdays. And then with this idea of audiences being very loud and lively, this is not seen as a negative thing during this time. Okay. It's meant to show public interest in what's going on, especially the comedies, and even throwing fruit isn't really like a negative response. It's like audience participation, basically. Okay. Now, and as we mentioned in France, right, it was really seen as like boo, hiss, like I'm throwing cucumbers at you, right? So in France, it's different. It's like positive interaction. Like, yeah, this is great. Like, have a tomato,
And now
yeah.
we associate it with hating the theater.
Yeah, and it wasn't always that. Even during England, it wasn't necessary. Like when they threw stuff at the stage, it wasn't always a negative thing either then. But yeah, today it is very much associated with like a negative response. And when you see the theaters, which we'll do at the end of the hour, you're going to see the way that it's set up to keep men and women separated.
Why did they keep men and women separated within the theater?
Well, think about how strict the Catholic religion was at this time, right? So if you're not married, it's like, all right, well then women to the right and men to the left, and you can maybe catch a glimpse at your loved one across the aisle, right? But that was about it. It was also, even though it was totally cool for women to go to the theater, a lot of them would wear like half masks when they went to sort of like shield their identity. That's true, Victor. You're right. It is. And So this is like, the super extreme form of it during this time. I get it. I totally understand what you're saying there. Okay. Go ahead, Emma.
I don't know why, but when they say that they separated the men and women, I'm just like thinking they're like, we must not let it. The Lord does not allow us to do this. They cannot kiss during a theater.
It's almost like they really wanted to have entertainment. They understood how important it was, but at the same time, they had to find ways to make it, like, to justify it in, like, yeah, exactly, Zanette. So when I say that this was a very prolific time, what I mean is that our estimate of how many plays were written during this 100-year period is about 35,000 plays. I have one too many zeros here. That's cool. But we actually have a lot of them. We have so many, in fact, that, yeah, thank you, that there are some playwrights during this period where we have their plays and they've never really been studied because there's just simply so much. So if you were like fluent in Spanish and you loved theater history, this would be like the right way to get in, because you could pick any one of these like hundreds of playwrights that have never really been studied, and just that could be your whole career. It's just translating their work and talking about what it's like and comparing it to other stuff, right? So lots and lots and lots written during this time for sure. Okay, so we're going to watch a little bit of Crash Course Theater, and I want you to think about these questions. So what is different about these playwrights than the people we've talked about before? What is different about the plays that they're writing? And I'm going to put this in the chat. And which of these playwrights would you want to know more about? Okay, so let me get this started. I can't remember if it starts where it's supposed to or if it just starts at the beginning. So think about that as you're watching this little bit, and I'll see if I can. No, it's going to start at the beginning because of course it is. I think it's like right here at 6:15. And I'm going to turn off my video while we watch it too, because I think it does help the quality.
Golden Age, or Siglo de Oro. And guess what? We have most of them. There are so many that scholars haven't even studied them all. It's like Frank's.
Sorry, Henley walked across the keyboard.
Women acted, there are so many that scholars haven't even studied them all. It's like Frank Zappa records or R.L. Stein novels. Fans of the Spanish Golden Age are spoiled for choice. Cervantes, when he wasn't writing both parts of Don Quixote, wrote some great plays. So did Tirso de Molina, who gave us our version of the Don Juan legend. But today, we're going to take a brief look at two dramatists, Felix Lope de Vega and Pedro Calderón de la Barca. Lope was born in Madrid in 1562. Cervantes called him the phoenix of wits for his unparalleled output. He's one of the most prolific literary figures in all of history, having written nearly 1,000 plays, of which we have 450. He also wrote 3,000 sonnets. Shakespeare only wrote 154. What a slacker. Remember how I said that most Spanish plays were about love and honor? Yeah, that was because of Lope. That's his bag. He was into juicy female roles, funny low-life characters, and suspenseful plots that magically end happily. A few of his plays are still performed, including Fuente Ovejuna, or The Sheep Well, where some abused villagers come together to kill a rapey ruler. Calderón, born in 1600, eventually became even more popular than Lope. We have 100 of his plays, and 80 of those were autos sacramentales. For more than 30 years, his autos were the only ones performed in Madrid, and they are beautiful. In terms of secular plays, he specialized in cape and sword comedies and philosophical dramas. His plays aren't as light or eventful as Lope's, but they are more thoughtful and often more elegant. They have really beautiful poetry. So we're going to look more closely at one of Calderón's plays, 1635's Life is a Dream, or La vida es sueño. Let's dream together, Thought Bubble. A woman, disguised as a man, is wandering through the hills of Poland, as you do, when she finds a man chained to a tower. That beardy guy is Segismundo. It turns out that he is the heir to the Polish throne. Congrats! Meanwhile, back at the palace, King Basilio is conveniently explaining why he had to chain a dude up. When Segismundo was born, the king received a prophecy that Segismundo would kill him and destroy the country. So he tried to prevent it. Haven't we seen this in Greek tragedy somewhere? King Basilio has decided to give Segismundo a chance. He has a tutor drug Segismundo and carry him to the palace. When Segismundo wakes up, he's told that he's a prince and should go and do some princely things. And it doesn't go so well. He gets lustful, he gets angry, he throws a servant off of a balcony, he challenges a nobleman to a duel. So the king has him sedated again and returned to his tower. Segismundo wakes up believing that his time at the palace was just a dream. He tells his tutor about the dream, and the tutor tells him that even in dreams, we have to try to act nobly and not throw people off balconies. The people find out about the king's experiment and that they have a prince. They rebel because succession is super important to them, I guess. And Segismundo gets a chance for revenge and his royal right. But Segismundo spares the king. So the king, realizing that Segismundo has changed, acknowledges him as a son and heir. And Segismundo promises to behave with goodness and virtue, asleep or awake. Thanks, Thought Bubble. At the end, Segismundo says, "What is life? A frenzy. What is life? An illusion, a shadow, a fiction. And the greatest good is small, for all of life is a dream, and dreams are only dreams." It's nice, right? This is a religious allegory based on the idea that life is a dream until death wakens us to a greater life with God. It's also an invitation to us, the audience, to think about our own lives and how we should conduct them, whether we're directing our actions towards an eventual heaven or working towards making life better here on Earth. Calderón died in 1681, and the golden age of Spanish theater kind of died with him. But don't start crying into your mantilla just yet, because next time we're going to drop in on France, where neoclassicism.
Okay, so let's think about these questions. So what is different about these playwrights than some of the ones that we've talked about previously? What did you notice? Or the plays, if you'd rather start there.
They did a lot more.
They lots of writing, for sure.
There was a lot of writing. Like we compared it to Shakespeare, who was considered one of the most influential playwrights in like British and England.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they did more.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Very big themes. Yes, that's true. Right. Most of them were always the same. Now, that's a good point, right? Because a lot of the plays, right, if they have very similar themes, it's kind of easy to write a similar thing over and over and over and over again, right? Okay. What about, like, for instance, they showed a picture of Tirso de Molina. Let me see if I can get to the picture without.
Hey there, Molina, who gave.
There he is.
Scholars haven't even studied them all. It's like Frank Zappa records or R.L. Stein.
Here, I'll make it smaller so I can actually control when it pauses. Play. No, you don't want to do that. I swear. Here we go. Okay.
Great plays. So did Tirso de Molina, who gave us our version.
Tirso de Molina. What does he look like to you? Good ending. There's lots of good themes. Okay. Well, we know that they all, yes, a monk. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there's a lot of people who are in the actual church who are writing some of this stuff, right? Okay. So they're writing these plays as they're working for the church, maybe, right? And that's definitely their like professional job. That's how they're making their money, right? Okay, good. So, which of those playwrights do you think you would want to learn more about? The first guy? Are you talking about Lope de Vega? Yeah. Yeah, he writes some very cool stuff. Yeah, Lope's very cool. They've all got some really cool stuff going for them. I wrote a paper that I presented at an international conference about Tirso de Molina because I think it's really interesting that the person who created Don Juan, who was like, this like incredible ladies man, was a monk, right? Okay, so the homework for today is going to be that you're going to read about the Corral de Comidas and then explore what they look like through the 3D guide. Then you are going to sort of take one of the views from the 3D guide and draw that. Then submit a picture or scan it into Schoology. That's not due until tomorrow. Okay. It's a very cool exploration of what the theaters looked like. You can move around the inside of the theater and see it from all kinds of angles. So you can draw what it looks like from the stage. You can draw what it looks like from the back of the house looking at the stage. You could take like this angle and show the chairs on the floor and the stage and the box seats. There's pictures below that you can also draw from their perspective. So that's your homework. It's not due until midnight tomorrow, so you have quite a bit of time. I think it's also interesting they had like a pulley system for water. So if you were upstairs and you were thirsty, you could still get water, which is pretty cool.
I wasn't there for like 2 seconds of it.
This is your homework. This is your homework. Okay. Is to read about these and then draw one of the pictures, submit it into Schoology either by taking a picture of it and submitting that, or if you have a scanner, you can scan your picture. It doesn't matter to me. A lot of you take pictures of them. As long as I can see them, that's fine. So that's due before midnight tomorrow. So we have a little bit of time before our exit ticket, right? So what I would love for you guys to do right now is to tell me privately in the chat. The homework is on the screen. You should be able to see the homework right now. Okay. In the chat, however, I would love to hear from everyone or as many people as I can what playwright you're going to do your presentation on. So if you know from the list, okay, great. So I've got one from Zanette. Who you're going to do your project on. All right, thank you, Mia. You mean the one from today, Ahmed? Okay, I'm going to give you his name. There you go. All right. Inez, Victor. Wonderful.
I have a question about the project.
I would love to answer your question about the project.
So like for the project, is it like a paper or a PowerPoint that we're doing?
It's just a
'Cause that's what I'm confused
presentation.
on.
You can do, you can either write it as a paper or a PowerPoint. I'm not worried about, I don't worry, I'm not worried about how you present it as long as it has the information required in the assignment.
Okay.
So for those of you who are looking at the monk person, it's Tirso de Molina. Okay. Daira, that's from a play. So if you want to do the person who wrote Life is a Dream, it's Calderon. So I've got, let's see, La Cruz, Alyssa's thinking about Racine. Carla's thinking about Tirso de Molina. Demolia says Calderon, I think. No, Lupe de Vega. Okay. Emma's looking at Moliere. Daira, yeah, you want to do Calderon if you're looking at the Life is a Dream. You can open up that document too and get all the information out of it, okay? Mildred's looking at Inez de la Cruz. It is in Schoology, so if you want to look at the options again, if you go into Schoology and class content, it is at the very top of class content. It says European Playwright Project. So open that up and it will give you all the options that you have for who to write about. And it gives you the details of what you will be doing. We went over this last week. Tyler Lope de Vega. Okay. Hannah wants to do Moliere. Okay. Nope, you don't have to do a Spanish playwright if you don't want to. You can pick any of the playwrights in this list. We've got some Elizabethan England, we've got some from France, we've got some from Spain, and we have some from Germany. I didn't put any of the Italian playwrights down, but I probably should have. But yeah, if you want to pick a playwright from another time, you can. So I haven't heard from Luis, Lisbeth, Barbara, Julian, Giselle, Theory, Weiss, or Vincent. John Fletcher. All right. Thank you very much. Cameron, lots of very interesting stuff going on there. He writes during the Jacobean period. He's got some fun stuff that you'll probably like, some weird plays. Okay, Theory wants to look at Lope de Vega. Great. So those of you I don't hear from today, I would like you to be able to tell me, actually, I would like you to email it to me. Oh yeah, Tyler, you can change your mind. You just only have 8 days, right? So that's why I'm like, hey guys, let's start making decisions. Like, I don't want you to have to rush this. This isn't your final answer. Calderon, okay, Giselle, thank you. Elizabeth's looking at Ben Johnson. All right, have a good time with him. He's good. Got some fun stuff to study. A couple more minutes if you want to look over this list and maybe think about some people. So you've got until tomorrow at midnight for the homework. And then in just a couple of minutes, we're going to do the exit ticket, and that will be it for today for Spanish theater. What'd you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Yeah, it's fun, right? I told you it was like a fun time. They did a lot of things. Yes, Luis, you may. Don Fletcher. They did a lot of really interesting stuff. The playwrights were just writing like crazy.
You could say it was nonstop.
Yeah, it was nonstop. There is an exit ticket in Schoology, so you have your homework, and then separate from the homework, we have an exit ticket. And I should have fixed this because I'm not going to see you on Tuesday. I'm going to see you on Friday. Okay. So I'm going to put Friday. And Schoology. Oh, is Schoology down? Is Schoology down? Mine isn't, but yours might like flip in and out. It's just a little multiple choice exit ticket about Spanish theater. The exit ticket is in Schoology. It's in today's folder. Yes, I am out this Wednesday. So on Wednesday, what you are going to be doing is watching a 45-minute long video. It's on the creation of In the Heights by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It follows them from the very first rehearsal to the Tony Awards. And then you'll have a 15-question little quiz afterward. That's all multiple choice. Okay. What says it's unavailable? Oh, the exit ticket is unavailable? Let me see. I may have messed up when I... Oh, so your Schoology is down? Are you going through the new link or is it... Oh, I'm in the wrong class. It would help if I went to the right class. Sorry, guys. You know, it's hard to think when I... Oh, yeah. My Schoology is down too. It just went down for me. So if your Schoology is down, just... Is it the Spanish exit ticket? Yes. So if you can do it, hooray. If you can't, try to get it done by tonight. If you cannot get it done by tonight, shoot me an email and let me know. And I will mark you down because mine is not up right now either. Because of course it's not, right? You know how we got, oh, wait, mine's back.
I always keep at least one Schoology link up.
Yeah.
Like when I close my computer.
I made the mistake of refreshing it like a dummy. All right, my friends, that's it from me. When you finish the exit ticket, you are good to go. If you can't get in, just try tonight. If you can't get in by tonight, then make sure to send me a message and let me know because, you know, it is what it is. And I will see you guys on Friday. Thank you very much. You too. Thanks for being understanding, y'all.
Because we keep talking about kind of like the time periods. Like period time. I'm starting to draw this one character, and every time like I draw her, I'm thinking, yeah, she could work for I'm thinking of the Victorian. I think I'm thinking of the Victorian era.
Yeah.
But her, I'm making a whole storyline and a whole voice for her. This is what I got so far. Let me get close up.
Oh, she's cute. Wow. You're very good at that. I'm glad that you have that tablet because